I'm Tasha. I have got three kids. Lily, who's my oldest, she's four. Alara is two, and Melody is 4 months old. The experiences I've had every single child has been very, very different. But the first experience that I ever had was horrific. If anything, I think it kind of put me off for life at that point. I had, obviously, it was like 2 weeks into the first lockdown. I had no support from anyone. I had no midwife support, no health visitor support. Turns out she's actually tongue-tied. She's still tongue-tied now. I got significant pain. It was horrible journey the first time round. Um, and everyone that I spoke to just kept saying, "Oh, yeah, that's normal. Just keep going," and played it off like it was nothing. And I think I got to about 6 weeks when she was about 6 weeks old. And I said to my partner, like, I'm permanently exhausted. Like, I can't do this. And we ended up putting her on bottles. It was just horrible. Like I was just constantly exhausted. Every time she'd cry, I know it was because she's hungry. I'd start to cry myself and like my toes would just start to curl because I'd know of the pain that I'd get when she like latched on. We took her to an
Oh,
in-person appointment, like, but they were just saying, no, she's not tongue-tied. And because that one health visitor said she wasn't, nobody would then really look again. Going on to the bottle, because she was my first, I think it's that mum guilt. It's that typical mum guilt. And even like that one of the health visitors turned around to me at one point and was like, she's getting fed, like don't beat yourself up too much, like it's not a massive deal. But I think because she was like the first one and I didn't know any different, it was like, I don't know, it's just that horrible mum guilt. It's such a completely different experience this time. Like I got pain to begin with, and I think that's what worried me. That's why I was like, is she tongue-tied? But when I went to the workshop clinic type, I don't know if it's like a work breastfeeding workshop or clinic or what they call it, but they've got quite a few dotted in and around Wolverhampton, and I went to one that wasn't that far, funnily enough, from an eyelash appointment I had that day. So I was like, oh, I'll just pop in there. And I think she was explaining it might more be to do with the latch. And because she was only 4 days old, it's typical that she slept through it. So they never really got the chance to see her feed. But she sent me loads of information, positions to hold her in, and that the chances are that the pain this time is more of a latch, um, which it was. So I adjusted it a little bit. Ever since, it's been tons better. Like I've had no pain. Um, she's 4 months now, 4.5 months, and she's still exclusively breastfed. Obviously, with my job and stuff like that, it makes it very, very difficult. Like I'm on maternity leave at the moment, but when I go back to work, I won't be able to breastfeed while I'm at work. But they do, like our work does accommodate. They've got a fridge, a specific fridge for people that if they want to pump, you can go into like a quiet private room, like if you wanted to, and you could pump in there. I also found out that if when I go back to work I am pumping, they offer an extra, I think it's like 30 minutes on top of your break. So you have your 45-minute break and then they offer an additional 30 minutes so you can pump. I didn't use it going back after my other two, obviously, because they were bottle fed formula in the end. Um, but if I'm still breastfeeding by the time I go back to work, I've said to my partner, like, I will be utilizing that. I will be pumping, and whenever I can, getting 15 minutes here and there. There's a shopping centre that I quite like going to. And there's like an area that's specific and there's like um it's like a kitcheny type thing with baby changings and like little private booths that you can go into if you want to be private about it. But I've also done it sat in the middle of Costa, which is like in the middle of the shopping centre. Kind of gotten to a point now where I'm like, I've had a couple of people give me a bit of a look as if to say, like, oh, you're doing it there. And I'm like, do you get somebody looking at you like, oh, you're eating your app out in public because you're eating your dinner? Like the flip side of it, where it's like mums have passed me and gone, fair play to you. And I'm like, well, why not? I remember being in Maryhill when I stopped breastfeeding Lily, and there was a woman behind me who was breastfeeding her baby. And I remember I kept looking back, and I think she was looking at me as if to say, like, why are you staring at me? And I remember going up to her afterwards and being like, I just want to say you're doing a really good job. Because sometimes I think all it takes is that one mum to go to another mum and be like, "You're doing a really good job," just to feel like that support. You don't know what they're going through. You don't know what support system they've got. And I remember what like I only had my partner for Lily, and I remember thinking like she might not have anyone telling her that she's doing a good job. She might have loads of people, but it's still sometimes it's nice just to have that passing comment of a positive comment rather than the what are you doing?